Today, for the very first time, we're going to be listening to the brand new, just released Five Finger Death Punch album. This is Legacy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review / reaction here on the channel. My name is Patrick Musilek, and if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. And if you're familiar with how we do everything here, welcome back. Okay, so this is an interesting video. First of all, I have to get a couple things out of the way. If you've clicked on this video to see what it was like, and you're looking at me and you're like, oh gosh, look at this Five Finger Death Punch stan here, right? Well, no, that's not really the case. This sweatshirt, I need to get something out of the way right away. Way too small for me. I think this is a large. I think that it was like, I bought this at a Goodwill last year. And so a couple things. First, I bought it at a Goodwill and I thought it was pretty cool. It's faded and it looks kind of weird. So I actually think this may be like a home printed, like a self-made product. I want to show you guys the back. Obviously, if you're here, you're probably a big Five Finger Death Punch fan, I would assume, or you're here. I know a lot of people don't like this band, especially in the metal community. I think that that's silly, but they are not like this uber awesome band that I love. I do have a big stack of their albums that I do enjoy for the most part, and I'll get to talking about them in a second, but I want to try to show you the back of the sweatshirt. Oh, God. You know what? I'm just going to stand up and show you, which is not... Oh, everything is wrong. Everything is not awesome. Can you see? This is a terrible idea. The light's going everywhere. Can you see the back of this? That was not important enough for me to go through all of that. But it's a large, and I wear extra larges. Plus, when I bought this last year, I was still recovering from my bone marrow transplant. After having successfully defeated leukemia. So if you're new here, that's part of my story, though that's not a big deal, and I'm totally doing fine now, so that's great. But if that is something you would be interested in, I have a cancer playlist here on the channel that goes through and talks about my entire journey and everything. But I had a bone marrow transplant last year. Everything's been going great. No worries there. But I was significantly smaller last year when I bought this sweatshirt, and it fit me better than it does now. But it is a large. And it's also like 95 degrees outside, and I'm filming in my basement, so I might be able to stand it. But at some point, I'll probably have to take this off because I get too hot. But, you know, what better time to wear this than in a Five Finger Death Punch reaction here on the channel? I did not know Five Finger Death Punch was going to be releasing a new album when I bought this, but I've known they were going to release a new album sometime this year for quite a while. And last year, I followed their story for a little bit. I think last year was when they released, the Best Of series. For those of you who are unaware, and as far as I understand, they have been losing, they have been having trouble with their record label and losing the rights to some of their music. It's all still on Spotify and everything, but I don't know if it has to do with licensing deals, with touring, playing live. I don't know. Maybe with profits from the albums. I don't know. But the reason they released their Best Of Volume 1 and Best Of Volume 2 last year, as far as I understand it from reading posts about them online, is because they basically were doing the same thing kind of Taylor Swift had to do, where she re-recorded some of her albums to get the rights back to them. Because when you make a new recording of a song, it is a new arrangement of that song, or a new recording. Might not be a new arrangement. It might be a new recording of that song, so it has different rights. And that's why you see bands from the 80s a lot re-recording their songs nowadays, because and bands from yesteryear, it can be from any time really, from the 90s on back when record labels ruled the music industry, which they still do, but it's a little bit more covert now the way they do it. But a lot of record labels took advantage of artists, and the rights to their songs don't actually belong to the artists. So as far as I understand, last year Five Finger Death Punch went in the studio and re-recorded 2 albums worth of their greatest hits, and that's why they ended up releasing their Best Of Volume 1 and Volume 2, to have new recordings of their albums. That's why on Spotify specifically, which is what I'm using for this video, it is their songs are listed as, like, for example, Under and Over It 2025 version, Wash It All Away 2025 version. That's why those are there. And if you want to support this band as best as you can, you want to try to listen to those versions, but they might not be as good. They're new recordings. So I haven't really spent much time listening to them. And truth be told, I don't actually know this band very well. So first off, let me get the intro out of the way here. So if you're unfamiliar with how we do things here, we do full album reactions for the most part. Sometimes we do singles. Sometimes we do other videos just showing off like cool stuff that we have or things like that. So there's a lot of things, but probably 90% of the videos on the channel, if not more, are full album reactions, which means we don't get any of, and I include the music from the albums in the video. That's what's different about our channel. We give you everything in the video. We don't hide anything behind a paywall. And we are in the process of starting our Patreon. I've been slowly building this channel over the last 5 years. Just as of yesterday, we passed 10,000 subscribers. I have no other I don't do Instagram, I don't do TikTok, I don't promote our videos in any way other than posting them and relying on word of mouth. And so we've been slowly growing our channel here on YouTube, and we've been slowly growing our Discord, the channel started in popularity because we started reacting to the Metallica albums because I had never heard any of them. So if you're a fan of Five Finger Death Punch, you're probably a big fan of Metallica and a lot of other metal music as well. And we don't just focus on metal here on the channel. I'm also reacting to 21 Pilots for the first time right now. We're doing Evanescence at the moment. I've got several other people that do reactions with me on the channel, and so we react to everything. But we are, a large chunk of our community here is a metal community, so I would highly recommend, if you use Discord, going over to our Discord and joining it. We have a really great group of people over there. Everyone is very polite. Everyone is understanding. We, it's not a huge community, but it's slowly growing along with the channel. A lot of it's metal, but not all of it is. And we have a lot of fun over there. And we're small enough that you can talk directly to me and to the other reactors here on the channel. And so I would recommend doing that. And if you want to donate to us right now, you can donate to the channel using our Coffee account. And in the near future, we're going to have our Patreon set up. So if you like the way we do things here, we like to present ourselves as being a podcast that doesn't release on a regular schedule, but probably 1 or 2 episodes, if you think of it as a podcast, 1 or 2 episodes a week, maybe 1 a week or so, but sometimes more, depending on what albums are coming out. But I try to get 1 to 2 videos out a week, so I won't flood anybody's inbox if you want to subscribe to us, or anybody's feed if you want to subscribe to us. But think of us like a podcast where every episode we just happen to listen to another full album and talk about it. We talk about production stuff. We talk about everything here. We don't focus on lyrics very much. However, I do want to say right up front with Five Finger Death Punch, I enjoy this band. I like this band. But one of the things that does turn me off of them a lot is the profanity in their music. Now, profanity doesn't usually bother me to the point of ruining an album for me. It can if the profanity is not earned. And I would definitely say Five Finger Death Punch is one of those bands that earns their profanity. Their songs are about anger and frustration, and they have a lot of pent up, frustration and anger built into their songs. They can also sing beautiful things in their music as well, and write really melodic music as well. But I understand where the swearing comes in on their albums, and I actually have edited clean versions of all of their albums that I can have until they stopped making clean versions of their albums. So I'll go through this stack in a second here, but I just want to get that out of the way. You will be hearing the censored version of this album. I will edit the songs myself and put them into this video, so don't be too alarmed at that. I'm not going to, at least I hope not, I'm not going to allow the swearing on this album to impact my my thoughts on it, unless they do one thing that I really hate, and I know they do it in their music sometimes, but I really do not like the GD word. I find that to be very offensive to me. It makes me uncomfortable. I understand it's not to everybody, and I understand that it means something totally different to a lot of other people. The people who say it, it means something different to them. And that's totally fine. I'm not here to tell you not to say anything, but here on my channel, I try to keep everything as clean as possible so that anybody can watch and enjoy these videos. But you watching this video probably don't care about that, but just know that's going to be happening. So we're going to listen through the entire album. I probably will not pause. I will do it without pausing. That's generally the way I do videos here on the channel, with just me in them. And then at the end of the video, I will give my overall opinions. So if you wanted to skip to that, or if you want to skip to your favorite song from this new album, that's cool. Do whatever you want to do. Check out our Discord. Check out any of the other links to things in the comments or in the description of the video. And if you want to, leave a comment, like and subscribe, all that stuff if you want to. Like I said, we just really reached a huge milestone that I've been building to for years and years, passing 10,000 subscribers. So I'm very proud of us for that. And we have a really great community here. So moving on to my thoughts of Five Finger Death Punch. It's really interesting because when this band first came out and they released their first album, here, we'll go in reverse order. When they released, not that one, this one. When they released their first album, Way of the Fist, which you can see there's no parental advisory on here. This is the clean version of this album. When they released this, I was pretty excited before it came out because I was a fan of this band, Motograder. And if you're a fan of Five Finger Death Punch and a fan of Ivan Moody, the vocalist, you probably are familiar with Motograder. But just in case you're not, I would recommend you check this album out. It is quite a bit different. It's very early 2000s, sort of industrial nu metal. It's very much, they painted their bodies, and the whole point of the band was that it was based off of this instrument, this crazy guitar that they made, which I don't even think was that crazy, but this sort of instrument that they jury-rigged together called the Motograder. And they let's see if there's a picture of them in here. They painted their bodies, so they were kind of along the lines of like a Slipknot or a Mushroom Head, which was those bands were super popular bands like that. Grade 8, stuff like that, nu metal style industrial elements. Kind of like nowadays how a lot of bands wear masks and stuff. It was like that in the 2000s with masks and paint and stuff. Mudvayne, obviously another very famous example. This band was following in those footsteps. I enjoy this band. I enjoy some of those other bands I just mentioned, but I don't know that much about a lot of them. Slipknot is another example of a band. We could do reactions to all of their albums here on the channel. But in their case, from what I understand, they swear so much in their music that it's going to be hard for me to edit them, but I'm a professional audio engineer. I can do it. So let us know in the comments. Let me know if you've Slipknot's a band you would be interested in. A lot of people have been mentioning them a lot on the channel, and I have not heard any of their albums. I obviously know their big singles, but that is something I would be willing to do. But Motograder is an interesting band, and I really liked them, and I followed Ivan Moody. After they released this Motograder album, I found out he was in this band called Ghost Machine. I believe it's Ghost Machine, not Ghost in the Machine. Yeah, Ghost Machine, and this is their one album, Hypersensitive? Yeah, Hypersensitive. I haven't listened to this for a while. This is actually one of the most rare CDs that I own. They did not make many copies of this, and this is, as far as I know, is not even available on Spotify to play. It might be on Apple Music, or I'm sure the songs are on YouTube somewhere. But this is one of the most rare CDs that I have. And this is another band that Ivan Moody sang vocals for. And this is a little bit more industrial, less metal, and there are some acoustic guitars and things on here that none of which were featured on Motograder. So this is really interesting and fun. If you're a huge fan of Ivan Moody and you're unaware of this, I would highly recommend looking into this. But because I was into those bands and I liked Motograder so much, and I used to subscribe to the Metal Edge magazine, I was aware of this band before they released this album, before they released any singles, I believe even. And at the time, from what I remember it being Ivan Moody, the vocalist from Motograder, getting together with sort of more of an old school metal dude to create this new metal band. And what they wanted was phenomenal production and songs that were sort of in the more European style, kind of, where it was like harsh, incorporating clean vocals with the harshness, which is something that was not new to the United States at all, obviously. When did this album even come out? 2007. Oh, yeah. So we're talking way after clean vocals and everything were very commonplace in metal. And they have been in metal since the beginning. Metallica never used harsh vocals at all in any of their music. But hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. But I was interested in this band, and I heard this album, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was very different. And my favorite song on this album, actually, I was just looking it up on Spotify, and I thought it was very funny. But my favorite song on this album, one of my favorite like guitar riffs, and I'm not a guitar person really, one of my favorite guitar riffs of all time is this riff from Salvation, the song. I love this riff. I love it. I love the way this sounds. It's such a good riff, right? Or I think it is, at least. And this is like one of the least played songs on the album. It's monkey see and monkey do. You're always doing what they tell you to. You could be me. Or is that a different song? I think that's a different one. I get their songs kind of mixed up. A lot of their stuff kind of does roll together for me. So anyway, I enjoyed this. I don't know the order of their albums. I think this is their second one, maybe. And then I think I have them in order. American Capitalist. Yeah. Is there another CD in here? What is this? Oh, Dope Stars Incorporated. American Capitalist. Then I believe Righteous Side. The 2 double disc set of these. These were the first albums of theirs that I had to get unedited because I don't think I bought these at Best Buy at the time where I was living in Omaha, Nebraska, while I was working at a recording studio, and they did not have the clean versions. And I went to Walmart. I didn't know that they had clean versions. And then I believe after this album, which came out in 2013, I believe they stopped making clean versions of their albums. Unless this is a clean version of Got Your Six, but I don't think so. I think they just stopped even caring at all. And then I have F8 here as well. So okay. As I mentioned earlier, we talk about production a lot on this channel, and that is one of the things I want to bring up with this band, because this band sort of runs along a parallel alongside one of my another metal band from the US that I love a lot called In This Moment. And In This Moment is a female-fronted metal band. If you're familiar with Five Finger Death Punch, they have done collaborations. I believe Maria Brink has appeared on, she's the singer for In This Moment, she has appeared on some Five Finger Death Punch albums, and Ivan Moody has appeared on In This Moment albums, and they are on the same record label, and they are both produced by the same guy named Kevin Churko, who is the guy who has produced all of Five Finger Death Punch's albums except for their very first album, Way of the Fist, and I found out just now before this video, doing a little research, this new album. And I'm very happy about that because I believe that Kevin Churko is responsible for the destruction of both Five Finger Death Punch and In This Moment, at least in the way that their songs sound. And I don't think it's solely on him. Obviously, these other people are in the band, and it's not just him. But for some reason, the same thing that bothers me about Five Finger Death Punch as their career continued on is this, production-wise, is the same thing that bothers me about In This Moment. And I think I've looked him up before and done a little research on Kevin Churko, and I believe he has a brother who also is involved in all of this, or a family member of some kind. But In This Moment's album, the American Wasteland, or the I think is what it's called, the one with Iron Army on it, and the gunfighting one, the like Old West one. It is one of the worst overcompressed albums I've ever heard. It's bad production, terrible, which is really frustrating because the album before that, The Dream, was also produced by. And this is again for In This Moment. Their album, The Dream, is produced fantastically well and a really great album. Sounds really great. And I do think the first couple of Kevin Churko produced Five Finger Death Punch albums sound pretty great as well. It's definitely a different approach. It is a pop approach to metal. And what I mean by that is kick and snare and vocals are the most prominent thing that you're hearing. Kick and snare and vocals. And the guitars are produced and treated in such a way that they wouldn't even necessarily need to be guitars. It could basically just be synths or something. They are and distorted guitars are always compressed, so it's not a compression thing so much as a way they're treated as just being this giant block of a wall of nothing. There's no definition to it whatsoever. It is just either there's sound on or there's sound off. When the distorted guitars aren't playing, the song sounds a particular way. And when they are playing, its song sounds identical. And it has to do with compression. It has to do with mastering. It has to do with a lot of things. And I'm not saying I can do anything better than these people. We always get comments in our videos of saying, how dare you critique stuff? What have you ever made? Whatever. It doesn't matter. I can use my ears, and I'm a big fan of music. I've been listening to it my entire life. As all of you have too, I'm sure. But there's something about the production that Kevin Churko has done to Five Finger Death Punch and In This Moment, which I'm a little bit more familiar with their catalog, and just kind of made the bands into basically just sort of electronic sounding bands that use sort of metal instrumentation. Now, in this moment, you could get rid of the guitars entirely on their last like 4 to 5 albums, and the albums would sound identical. The guitars are completely insignificant on those albums, which is fine. I enjoy electronic music, and there's other things within this moment. We're not talking about in this moment, but for Five Finger Death Punch, the production is not the style. It's not a style that I enjoy as much. I think the high fidelity aspect that they're going for is interesting. It's definitely an interesting approach to metal, and I think on their first album and their second album and maybe their third album too, it was done, I think, successfully. I don't think it's the best way to capture the like raw feel of metal music, and I don't think it's an accurate representation of what live metal music sounds like. And I'm not a big fan of live music in general at all, so take my words for that with a grain of salt. But I think that it is a more pop approach, and I don't mean that to be offensive to people who are like hardcore metal elitist dudes. But it's all about the kick and the snare and the vocals and those things being so prominent. And I think what that does is it makes the metal very accessible. And I think that in itself is a good thing. I think more people that enjoy metal, the better. And I think that Five Finger Death Punch has a lot of things about them as a band that is very appealing to certain people. And, you know, they are very patriotic, or at least they seem to me, and they have, from their very first album, I believe they have caught on to this audience that is very like military-esque in a really interesting way. It is kind of like the American version of Rammstein, like the sort of, whereas, and I'm not a fan of Rammstein, but I loved the Dutch Hard metal movement, the industrial German metal stuff, like bands that are far superior to Rammstein, like Oomph and Megahertz and lots of bands like that. But I specifically love Oomph. So if you're familiar with that stuff, Rammstein, I would look up Oomph. But anyway, whereas that sort of style of metal is very rigid and electronic and industrial in its very nature, sort of reflecting the sort of industrialistic feeling of like the military German, like straight-laced, super serious, you know, feel. In that same way, the other side of that coin could be Five Finger Death Punch, and the way that they have this. A lot of it has to do lyrically, but I feel the way they approach the metal as well, and the like, whether they're being aggressive or emotional, and then the emotions they're trying to play off of as well. I hope people who are watching this understand what I'm saying, and I'll get to the music, I promise. But there are certain things about Five Finger Death Punch that I really enjoy and certain things that I don't care for as much, and the same can be said for any metal band. But I guess I'm just trying to let you know where I'm coming from with this band. I decided to do this reaction because I knew that they were having problems with their record label, and I knew that this was them kind of breaking free from that. It's not a very long album. I believe that this new one is there. Let me pull it up here real quick. I believe this new one, Legacy, is their shortest album, 36 minutes. So it's just almost, it's 37 minutes basically, which is pretty short. There's only 10 songs. Now, this band is known for having multiple versions of releases of things. And I saw on here that the CD version of this isn't even coming out until September. So I'm really curious what was going on there. I did see on the Wikipedia page that I do have pulled up for this. It says Legacy is the 10th studio album by American heavy metal band Five Finger Death Punch, and it was released digitally on July 31st, exactly 19 years after the first release of their first studio album, The Way of the Fist. So I'm assuming that they were originally planning to release it on September 18th, which is around September 11th, which is definitely a date that's very important in U.S. history, and one that people, I do feel, maybe think about the country a little bit more. I'm not saying that's why they put it there, but maybe it is. I don't know. But I think that maybe that was originally supposed to be the release date for this, and then they decided, oh, we could just release it digitally. The date, the anniversary, the 19-year anniversary of Way of the Fist, which 19 years is an important time, but maybe to them. And also July 31st just so happens to be Harry Potter's birthday. So maybe they're big Potterheads and they wanted to do something to celebrate Harry Potter's birthday. I doubt that, but maybe. Who knows? So interesting. But we getting it today. We get it actually yesterday. Today is the August 1st, as I'm recording this. So, it says guitarist Zoltan Bathory stated that the album is a reflection of the journey, the lessons, the victories, the struggles, and everything we've experienced over the last 2 decades. That sounds like marketing speech to me. Of course it is. I mean, what else would it be, you know? It says the lead single is Eye of the Storm, and then the second single, Oppresso Liber, was released. I did not listen to either of those. I do not know what the production of this is. However, I did. That's not true. Yesterday, when I found out this came out, I listened to like the first maybe 5 to 10 seconds of Eye of the Storm. I think it was. No, it was the first song, Legacy. So I listened to the first like 5 seconds of that, 5 to 10 seconds of it, and I was like, oh, interesting. And then I was talking to someone in our Discord about this, and I thought, oh, maybe I should do a reaction to this. It might be kind of fun. Plus, I knew I had this sweatshirt, and I want to wear it for a reason, since it's too small for me, and then I can get rid of it. But, so yeah, I don't know. Interesting. And then I found out reading this, it says, it is the band's first album since The Way of the Fist, so for 19 years, to not be produced by Kevin Churko. And I read that and I was like, that is intriguing to me in a large way. So that's one of the other reasons I decided to do a reaction to it. The fact that they're kind of, I believe their music, hopefully they're on a different record label. It doesn't say that here. And I expected there to be a big, part in the article here about their like legal battles with their record label, but it doesn't say that here, and I'm not going to go dig through their actual full band Wikipedia page for this. I want to get into the music. So without further ado, hopefully you know a little bit of where I'm coming from. Let's get into this album and see what we think. Again, I will be editing the songs. I hope there's not a lot of GD words in here. That is something that could turn me off of this, and I know that's a stupid reason, but that's something that is important to me. It looks like of the 10 songs, only the first 2 and the last 3, so 5 of the songs have explicit lyrics and the other 5 don't. That's nice. I enjoy Ivan Moody's voice a lot. It's my favorite part of this band. I think his voice is really interesting and unique, kind of like Des Fafara from Coal Chamber and also from Devil Driver. But Ivan Moody's voice, I like his singing voice. I like his harsh voice a lot. I don't think that he uses his harshes as much as he should, because I really like his distorted vocals. I don't know what we're going to get on this. It could be a heavier album because they're free from their record label burdens, and maybe they had someone kind of controlling them this entire time. I don't know. Seems like they have a lot of members come and go, but Ivan Moody and then the guitar player, I believe, is the 2 guys that have been in it from the beginning. So yeah, let's just get into this and see what we get. Thank you for sticking around if you watched the whole intro. If not, we're getting right into the album right now. This is Five Finger Death Punch with their album Legacy from 2026 that was just released yesterday. This is the first track titled Legacy in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I just got clipped around through a couple seconds of this. Sampled a bit of it yesterday. I love the bell. Kind of sounds like it might sound Old West, or it makes it sound like the tolling of the bell, right? The ending, like a funeral, like this is the death of the previous iteration of the band. Whoa. Okay, some lead guitars there. Okay, so right away I'm noticing the mix is not as wide as some of their other albums.
Mama always told me never dance with the devil, you'll only find trouble. Well, trouble's just fine by me.
Yep.
You better ask somebody, 'cause trouble's my middle
Guitars sound good.
Say it. If you wanna see double,
Tom's spread so wide. I barely hear any cymbals at all. Okay, there we go.
Line ain't concerned with sheep. Don't disregard my discontent. Don't disregard.
Okay, so they're still fantastic production, still exactly what they've been doing this whole time.
My disconnection.
Cymbals are basically non-existent, and they are sticking with that kick, snare. Snare has punch, kick, thump to it. Feel it in your chest. His vocals are right there, right in the middle, very dry. That is a pop approach. You know, if you took the guitars away from this, it would basically just be an electronic song, and that's fine. But the guitars are there, you can hear them, they're crunchy, they're thick, they're very nice. There's like a in there. That could be another guitar. Five Finger Death Punch is one of those bands. I appreciate their heavier songs more, and I'm not generally like that. I like the clean parts of a lot of metal. Good singing. Soilwork, one of my favorite bands of all time. Raunchy, my favorite metal band. There's a Japanese metal band, Moop, that I love. I'm trying to think of bands that you would probably know. Demon Hunter, Solo. Ooh, Double Link. It sounds just like a Five Finger Death Punch riff. There's no lead in the riffs. Love the big shouty vocal stuff. This is my life and death, my legacy. Don't disregard my legacy. Half tempo at the end. Oh, back to the beginning with the bell. So as of right now, this song has 5,000 plays. So awesome. Okay, moving into track 2. This is one of the singles. This is the second one, has 2.5 million plays as of right now. Oppresso, Liber. Will this be one of the more accessible ones, or a heavy one? Okay, sounds like a heavy one. So, Five Finger Death Punch has just like 2 types of songs, and they basically have a formula for all of those. We'll see if they diverge from that here. More cymbals here. They're very far to the right, so the stereo image is being compressed to snot with the cymbals. No hi-hat, basically. It's like off to the far right. Oh yeah, they do that big American commercial voice. You know, this is probably a terrible thing to say to people who are Five Finger Death Punch fans, but I have felt since like their second album that Ivan Moody kind of feels like he's trapped inside of this band, and his talent would be better used elsewhere, which I know is a crappy thing to say, but his voice is so awesome. There's like a primal part of primal thing to this. Like, it's like fighting music, you know? There's not a lot of... There's like a surface levelness to this, and that's just their whole existence as a band. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I know... I don't want to seem like, you know, I'm not dismissing. I like this. I'm enjoying this. There's just a lot of... They're an interesting band to me because they are so different from a lot of the metal that I listen to. He has such a good... His clean voice can have some aggression mixed in with it, like a yelling singing. But he's also got a good clean voice. Solo sounds great. Ooh, I love this. You know, they kind of remind me a bit of Sabaton in some ways, if you're familiar with Sabaton. I don't know if I've ever thought of that in my head, but Sabaton has a bit more, like, goofiness to them. But I think Five Finger Death Punch also kind of is self-aware, and I think that's important when you're a kind of a band like this. I don't think that I understand. This song is lacking high frequencies that I felt I heard in the previous one. I'm gonna have to take this sweatshirt off. I'm getting hot. Really felt like it jumped up and got louder there. heard like a stutter edit thing in there. This is compressed a lot. Like, it's compressed so much that the crispy frequencies are all gone from it. We'll see if the next song is mixed in the same way. It sounds the same. I think the first song sounded better. It sounded more high fidelity to me. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pause it for now before we get to that. I got to take the sweatshirt off. Okay, yeah. I definitely must cut that. No one wants to see that. I'll put the hat back on. Because what other videos am I going to be able to use my awesome hat? Happy 250th birthday to the United States, by the way, the greatest country in the world. And I say that and I mean it. Okay, so interesting thing here. That was a single. And that was an interesting single from them because they have kind of two singles where there's a more, maybe they have three, I guess, but there's a more like aggressive one, kind of like Got Your Six, where the whole time to me, it feels like those are their more military-based songs where they're like, you know, no man left behind, you know, that kind of a like aggressive the whole time, like, you know what I mean? Then they have, like, on their first album, didn't really feel that way that much at all, but their heavier songs on that album were a bit more technical, I would say, and again, that first album's the one I'm most familiar with, but they didn't have that, like, sort of bro feeling to them as much, and I don't say that in a bad way, but I guess I don't necessarily mean it in, like, a super great way, but take that, I guess, for what you will, but, like, that was a single, and it mixed that with their, like, you know, Moody's voice can be just so beautiful when he's singing clean, and the song is a little bit, you know, more of a ballad type for them, and they always do like there's like two, like I said, two different sides to them, this heavy side and then the prettier, beautiful side, the more thoughtful side, the ballad side. And those songs always have drums, and then the guitars come in later on, and they feel more like a metal ballad type thing. And I really enjoyed those songs too, but I feel like those style of songs they're much more formulaic songs, where you could pluck any of those, and other than the productions, the way the songs sound, you could pluck any one of those off their albums, and they are basically identical. I remember the first single that they released from their first album, The Bleeding, right? The Bleeding was very different for me at the time because it had a harsh chorus but a clean verse. So the verse was all him singing, and there was more like dee-dee-dee, like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, like sort of pretty sounding guitars in the background, and then the chorus was the lying, the bleeding, right? It was heavier, right? That was where the heavier part came in. And then the solos have always just been like shred fests, which is fine. I prefer more of a singy melodic guitar solo over a shred fest. But what they do great, and it's clean and played to perfection. And probably the entire mix is being cheated using all of the modern ways that you can cheat to make metal sound fantastic. And I love that. I think you should do that if you have the ability to do it. And I love a lot of modern metal. I am a huge Bad Omen's last album is like a masterpiece. I'm not a big fan of Sleep Token, and I don't really care for Lorna Shore, but I like a lot of modern metal with synths and keyboards and Japanese anime feeling metal type stuff. I like that kind of stuff. So I like modern metal a lot. But this band approaches it in a different way that leaves it a bit more raw feeling with all the extra production layers. I'm not going to get too deep into it. But in terms of since that was a single, and it was more of what I think of as a stereotypical melodic death metal type style song, where the verses were harsh, the vocals during the chorus was clean, but there was also harsh mixed in, so kind of along the lines of a In Flames style type thing, the way it was structured and everything, great solo. I would be willing to guess that this next song, Eye of the Storm, it's got 6.7 million as of my recording this. The next song only has 6,000, so we're really early here. I would guess that this song is going to start with clean guitars and then it will, I have not heard this, I'm guessing it will start with clean guitars, and then he'll do some singing, there will be no drums, and then the second half of the verse, maybe the drums will kick in, and then there's a chorus where the crunchy guitars come in, and then they go away, and it's very stereotypical, maybe a solo, a bit more of a singy solo, and then the last chorus will feel like explosions and stuff. I hope that's what it is, we'll see, but that's what I would guess, this being the big single from this album. We'll see. We will see. And then will the rest of this album feel different? Because the first 3 are probably the songs they're trying to put forth as like here's the new album. And they're trying to, I would guess, if they're marketing themselves correctly, they're trying to portray that they're the same band they have been this whole time so that their loyal fans follow them. And then maybe the rest of this album is going to be completely different. I would kind of hope that's the case, and it might be a little bit more for me. We'll end up seeing what happens. So this is Eye of the Storm in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, Father, please forgive
distorted
us,
vocals right away,
'cause we
or
know
distorted
just
guitars.
what we've done. As we dance around a tombstone and we crash into the sun, as the fires rise around us.
You know, some of this kind of sounds like when you hear a fake AI song, that's kind of the formula that...
The eye of the storm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, massive.
Aggression. It's the only thing you'll hear.
Okay.
It's just like music to your ears. And that's why I blame you. Deception. It's a pain that burns inside. It only hurts when it's applied. And that's why I blame you for feeling the way that I do. Oh, Father, please forgive us, 'cause we know just what we've done. As we dance around a tombstone and we crash into the sun.
You know, like, the lyrics in the chorus, it's kind of eye-rolly. I mean, all their lyrics are kind of eye-rolly, right? And that's what I mean when I said, like, when you hear, like, an early AI that was just spitting out songs, it kind of all sounded like this. And there's a reason for that. This is kind of like... Man, is this... They have this formula, and they do it really great. Love the kick patterns we've gotten here. I like the guitars. I think the rhythm guitars sound nice. They're beefy, they're chunky, but they're not like overly crazy. A little more low pass during the chorus here with the lead part over it. Very straightforward. Nothing wrong with being straightforward. All right, what are we going to do here? A lot of delays. Kind of a breakdown. Yeah. There's something about the way that this is made that it, on one hand, it feels super heavy because it's so massive, but it's missing something that other bands have that truly make them feel heavy. I don't know, it's a weird thing. Let me know in the comments if you like completely disagree with everything I've said the whole time, or if you kind of get what I mean. And again, they are sticking with that pop mentality. Kick, snare, vocals are the thing you are hearing the most. Right? There's nothing subtle about anything that's happening. There's nothing behind anything, really. Awesome. Pretty short feeling. Okay, now we're moving into Nails in the Coffin. Okay. Low pass here. Kind of feels like an explosion.
There has to be a catastrophe
Strings.
in everything you say and do. It's like
Hans Zimmer.
urge you need to purge until it's bruised through and through. You turn the knife to make
Such a
things
good
right
voice.
while slowly sealing up my tomb. No hope for me.
Okay.
I've lost my way
Love the subtlety of all this.
Forgives. Why don't you?
Totally different produced drums. Kick snare sound totally different here.
Never seen it coming, it just took me by surprise. A million things I could have said when I looked you in the eyes. I'll have to be a catastrophe, and I hope that you can take it, but a heart was made to give away right before you break it. I've come too far to turn back now. Nothing ever ends how we want it. I see too much.
Oh, interesting. So if you listen to the lyrics there,
I'm putting nails in that coffin.
dude, awesome. Love that guitar part behind there with the cool, like, the rhythmic riff. Awesome.
Take my
Sweet.
blood, turn it to mud.
This is the coolest Five Finger Death Punch song I've heard in a while. And again, I'm not even that familiar. I have listened to them, but I'm not even that familiar with like these albums that much at all. And American Capitalist, I remember thinking sounded really bad. Production-wise, this is great. Cinematic.
But there's no way to bend the truth. So now
There's more reverb on things, which I don't necessarily think makes it sound better, but it gives it a different feel.
worst here with never in a million years would you run away. But I guess there's something that you do and nothing looks the same. And even though we lost control and everything is off, I thank you for the ride.
So the lyrics.
I've come too far to turn back.
Come too far to turn back now. You know,
Never ends how we want it. I see too much.
I'll talk about it after the song's over. I'm enjoying this. I want to feel it. Get into it. Oh, yeah. This sounds like completely different production. I like this a lot more. It feels more natural. Yeah. Right back into the chorus again. Okay, we still got another minute to go. What are we going to do here? Are we going to just let everything stop and go back into the strings? Double chorus. Kind of some harsher vocals in the back. Not a lot though, really, but clearly there's some crunchiness to them. Low pass. Okay, hold on. I gotta pause it just for a sec. I want to just discuss the lyrics there. So I've come too far to turn back now. To me, with what I know, means that they had trouble with their record label or whatever legal issues they were having, and they probably had a lot of conversations like, dude, is Five Finger Death Punch done? Like, are we done? Have we done everything we can do? I'm sure they've had these conversations probably multiple times over the years, but like, have we done all we can do? Should we call it quits? Should we form a different band to get out of all this legal issues and just give everything up that we had? You know, but the sentiment is there. We've come too far to turn back now, right? We can't give up on the band. We can't do that. We've got too much of a legacy that we need to stick get through all this legal baloney, re-record our songs, and then go into the studio and make a banger of an album, you know. And then what was the second part of that chorus?
To turn back now, nothing ever ends how we want it.
Nothing ever ends how we wanted. Of course, that's kind of self-explanatory, if that's what they're talking about. I mean, and again, their lyrics are pretty open-ended in terms of interpretation. You can apply this all to your own life however you want to, which kind of is an eye-rolly thing for me, not being a lyric person. I don't feel I don't feel music because of the message that it's sending me. I feel the music because of the music, because of the production. And a lot of people don't look at music that way. A lot of people don't even know that there's music hidden inside of the song. They just listen to the words and the message, and they feel that to their fullest extent. And that's kind of frustrating for me sometimes, in probably the same way I'm very frustrating to a lot of people who watch our videos, because I don't even really hear the lyrics at all. But I don't like instrumental music either, because I feel like there needs to be some grounding force to guide you through the journey that the song is taking you on, and that is the job of the vocals. That's the way I look at the vocals. It's the grounding force that guides you through the journey, and it's also the thing that tells you which section of the song you're in, and hopefully helps differentiate from section of the song to section of the song. I'm a big song structure person. I like songs to be structured particular ways, and I don't particularly care when songs are like, oh, we're on this journey and now we stray off the path to this, now we stray off the path to this. I'm literally not worried about that with this band at all. I expect everything to be very straightforward. But that was surprising and refreshing. I was going to say, that was surprising and refreshing in really awesome ways that I really enjoyed. So if the rest of the album sounds just like that and is creative in that same way, not to say that the earlier songs weren't creative, but I feel like you could put those first 3 tracks on any one of their other albums and it wouldn't have stood out. Whereas I feel like that song did stand out a little bit more to me and what I'm looking for, at least. So, all right. Track 5, In Time. Probably won't do any pausing anymore. Oh, beautiful acoustic guitar. Love it. They do this sometimes. I love how you can hear the tone, room tone in the back. It's probably added in fakely, after the fakely. Voice big in the middle, probably coming in.
This time it hurts
drums do
a
them.
little more than it did before.
Whoa.
It's hard to admit to myself that I've still not found my home.
This is like way higher than I've heard him sing before.
This time it stings unlike it's ever stung before.
Wow, it almost doesn't even sound like
The
him.
things you said and did, well, they burn me to my core. In time.
More reverb here on everything, similar to the previous track. They like that delay, the in time. Nice. Is that like a marimba patch in there?
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
I think it was just the guitar, but it sounded nice.
I can't decide what's wrong and what was just unfair.
I can't get over that when he goes up there.
This time I
This
wish
sounds
I
like
could
him.
tell you that everything will be fine. But we both know that's wrong.
I mean, it does sound like him, but man, it's different.
In time, the pain will go away. That's always what they say, but they don't know a thing about it all. In time, the memories will die, and we can live our lives.
Hopefully we get a nice long solo in here. Nice melodic thing. Yeah, it sounds like there's like a music box or like a marimba or something in there, but I think it's just the acoustic guitars. Nice harmonized part. Oh, I could have had it go one more time through.
The lights fade out and the curtain hits the floor. In time, the pain will go away.
Notice my shirt has a bunch of lids on it. Sure, none of you give a crap, but yeah. I wasn't looking at myself, I was looking at Spotify.
And we can live our lives. Forget all about
Those are pretty guitars. I like the way that was recorded. Could have been a little bit more time at the end there. It kind of felt like they rushed the end. Okay, Unscathed.
Well, I don't wanna hear your words. I don't wanna play your games. I've given all I have to give, and all you ever do is take. No, I don't wanna hear more words, and I don't wanna take the blame.
Strange stuff in there again. Some synth stuff.
And then walked away unscathed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That fast-picking, riffing stuff is what their first album was kind of known for. Ooh, I like his voice here. It sounds less produced, less polished, more dynamic.
Crazy knows crazy, then I'm insane, 'cause I keep coming back just for the pain.
I hope one of the songs on this album is just fire the whole time. Just destruction the entire time. I would really enjoy it.
I prayed for a flower, and God sent me rain. You're a creature of a different breed. The devil had a chuckle when he set you free. It's one
His voice is really clean sounding here.
the fury like a demon scorn. If crazy knows crazy, then I'm insane. I keep coming back just for the pain. Well, I don't wanna hear your words. I don't wanna play your games. I'm giving all I have to give, and all you ever do is take. No, I don't wanna hear more words, and I don't wanna take the blame.
This is nice. It sounds mixed nice. In This Moment has a new album coming out too soon, and I hope maybe that one's not been produced by Kevin Sherko. And I hate to just crap on Kevin Sherko because he's produced some fantastic sounding albums. But those bands have also made some really bad sounding albums under his watch. So yeah. Ooh. I love it. Do something.
Crucifix you hung me on, displayed for all to
Voice
see.
a little loud here with that effect on
The
it.
roses are dead, the
Needed to be
thorns are blue,
brought down.
and I can't feel.
Mastering should have fixed that.
The crucifix you hung me on, displayed for all to see. The roses are dead, the thorns are blue, and I can't feel the pain. I don't wanna hear your words. I don't wanna play your games. I'm giving all I have to give, and all you ever do is take. No, I don't wanna hear more words, and I don't wanna
Love the double bass here this time. I don't think they were doing that the first two choruses.
and then walked away unscathed.
Ooh, yeah. That does remind me of their first album. They were the first metal band I ever heard to do like fast, choppy riffs like that.
You're taking the light from me. You're draining the life from me.
At least with that
It's
style of
so
production and those kind of drums.
enlightening. I guess the joke's on me.
Okay.
You get what you want, just how you want, right when you want it. You take what you need, more than you need. Don't think you need it. Take a look at who you are inside. Inside, inside. Take a look at who you are inside. Inside, inside. We are made of all those who have built and broken us. You're draining the life from me. You're taking the light from me. I've given you everything, so the joke's on me. taking the light from me. You're draining the light from me. It's so enlightening. I guess the joke's on me.
So massive feeling.
You said what you said.
And a lot of that has to do with the kick.
Nothing else to add. You'll do it again just cause you can. That's why it ends. Take a gun, look at
The voice does not sound like it was treated the same way it was on Unscathed. I think Unscathed had the best sounding, clearest sounding voice, vocals. The vocals here sound more like In Time and Nails.
So the joke's on me. You're taking the light from me. You're draining the light from me. It's so enlightening. I guess the joke's on me. So the joke's on
Ooh, acoustic guitars, nice.
It's enlightening. You're taking the light from me. You're draining my life from me. I guess the joke's on me. The joke's on me. You're draining the light from me. You're taking the light from me. I've given you everything.
This is not my favorite song on the album. It's interesting and different. This might be one that grows on me when I listen to the album again.
So the joke's on me.
Okay, on to Everybody Lies. Okay, interesting. Bypass filters on here.
Everybody lies, it's a fact of
Voice
life.
sounds super
It's
clear,
something that we do.
just like Unscathed.
Everybody lies, they
Little
twist
loud.
your words around and swear to God it's true. Everybody lies, there's no in between. These days it's such a trend. Everybody lies, I'm trying to keep it straight.
I wonder if this was inspired by one of my favorite artists of all time, Leonard Cohen, and his song Everybody Knows.
Where do we go from
Tambourine.
here? And where do we start?
Ah, very.
I don't know how or why or when it fell apart. These days the truth is somehow
Right?
always compromised.
Very different feeling.
It's a sad fact of life, wrong or right. Everybody lies.
Or Everybody Lies, sorry. Ooh, children, let's go.
Everybody lies about their history, their flip-ups and their deeds. Everybody lies just to suit themselves and get them what they need. Everybody lies, there's no one that's safe. It spreads like a disease. Everybody lies about the ups and downs.
Very cool.
And everything between. Where do we go from here? And where do we start?
Actually, I love this.
I don't know how or why or when it fell apart.
It's overcompressed, but this is nice.
Always compromised. It's a sad fact of life, wrong or right. Everybody
Lies. I keep saying dies.
Everybody lies. Everybody lies. Some lie for gold. Some lie
Love the
for
drums
God.
behind here.
Some lie for gain.
One of the
just so they
problems I guess I
can
do
beat
kind of
the
have with some of
odds.
their like more ballad type songs is that the massive kick and the massive snare just don't belong always in songs like that. So I like that they're messing around with the drums a little bit.
Where do we go from here? And where do we start?
Like this kick here that we're hearing now, very different from what we heard earlier on the album. This is much more of a rounded, punchy sounding kick. Less of a, more of a thumpy kick rather than a punchy kick, I guess. Which the kick and the snare we're hearing, they're just like sampled sounds. And that's fine. Like I said, I have no problem with that kind of a production technique or style. I like metal like that.
Everybody lies.
I would be happier, though, if they chose different sounds for different sections and different parts of songs. And played with it a little bit more. But you also have to have the sound consistent from beginning to end, too. That was way too loud at the end there. That was bad. Shelter. Okay. Not a very heavy album. I'm hoping Scapegoat, I'm hoping Scapegoat is that, like, crushing balls to the wall song, but I don't think it will be. We'll see. Half-tempo drums here. Cymbals non-existent on this album. You can hear them there on the right, but they're not playing a factor in this
Can you
album.
help me? I'm in need of a cure. I'm standing toes out on the ledge, and all I want is a push. I look around and all I see are robots, goblins, and creeps. And how the hell am I supposed to grow in all of these weeds? Ain't nothing healthy, I know. I wish it was just for show. It's hard to talk about, but if I don't, I fear I'll explode. It's not as if I don't care. I just know life isn't fair. And if you think my journey's southbound, well then I'll meet you there. If it all burns down, it's understood. We can remake it in Hollywood. There's something in the way.
Interesting.
It always seems like
Guitars sound like crap here. They're just low pass so much so everything sits on top. The vocals sound good. Better now they are. The drums. The guitars, sorry.
Am I suicidal or homicidal?
Voice
I
too
just
loud.
can't tell. It's like no matter how hard
They've got that
I try, I'm living
distorted
in hell,
effect on it.
'cause all I see is the grief. It's like a disease. It's just a humanoid disaster built on envy and greed. Is there a means to the end? Is this whole thing just pretend? I've got my hands out for the answers, but there's none to defend. I drank the blood from the cup, and I ate the bread from the cross. I buy my way back into heaven if they tell me the cost. If it all burns down, I'll understand. We can remake one in Disneyland. There's something
Nice. First time referencing Hollywood, second time Disneyland.
seems like I
Ooh, look, clever thing there. I like that. This chorus sounds really bad, though. It sounds like the entire Oppresso Liber song. Just so compressed, trying so hard to make it loud and big that it lost all the high frequencies out of it. But the vocals are sitting on top of that, so I don't think it's a mastering thing. I don't know.
Of all the machines I've raged against, none were worth the consequence.
Oh, interesting. Yep.
It always feels
What do you get for selling your soul, right?
there's something in the way. And all I ever wanted was shelter. Something in the way. It always seems like I'm outnumbered. There's something in the way. Will I ever find my shelter?
Interesting. Worst, other than Oppresso Liber, worst production on the album, I think. Okay, hold on. We're going to pause it. I did not hear any of Scapegoat yet. So one of the things we focus on here on the channel, especially this year, I've been making a point of it, is does the final track on the album have final song vibes, right? Do we get final song vibes? I believe in my opinion, every album should end on a song that is intentionally placed there to be the final part of the album. Now, generally to me, that means something that sounds different from what we've gotten on the album so far. It's a send-off for the album. And that can mean different things for different bands. You know, on this album, if this Scapegoat song, which is only 3:15, if this is the balls to the wall, crazy, intense, metal, fast the entire time, it would have final song vibes. For most albums, most metal albums, final song vibes would mean the ballad song, right? Something with maybe acoustic guitars or piano or whatever. Doesn't have to be, but to me, any song can have final song vibes. But what I don't want is a song that just sounds like it could have been placed anywhere else on the album. I want the final song on every album to feel like it belongs and deserves at that final spot on the album. Now, when this album releases in 2 months on, or I guess 1 month, 1.5 months on CD, will they have like bonus songs on there? Will there be a deluxe edition that comes with bonus things that then would kind of, offset that? But I think even if you have bonus songs, there still is an actual album release there that has a final song on it. And so we'll see. Does Scapegoat have final song vibes? This is the final song. Track 10, Scapegoat, in 3, 2, 1. Only 2,294 plays right now. I love this. Ooh. Okay.
Go!
Oh, interesting production there.
The biggest difference between you and me, I'm not a cog in the machine. The biggest difference between you and I, you just can't live, and I just won't die. You don't need me.
Vocals sound nice. Like they did on Unscathed and everybody vibes.
Well, you treat me.
Guitars sound better though during the chorus here.
Such a shame though.
Not like Shelter.
I don't need you like you need me. I'm not your scapegoat.
I like that like industrial sounding Static X type hi-hat
Your life's a lie.
during the chorus. That gave it a different feel.
Biggest difference between mine and yours. Seems you forgot who you were before. You don't need me till you need me. I'm a scapegoat. Well, you treat me like I'm nothing. Such a shame, though.
I'm not vibing with this one really at all.
I don't need you like you need me. The life you have, I gave to you. Without
Maybe we'll
me,
do something
you're
exciting
nothing,
during the bridge
and
here.
That's the truth. The
vocals sound
you
super
own,
forced.
I rent to you. The rope you're
Pretty cringy.
on, I'm cutting it loose. Cut! You don't need me till you need me. I'm a scapegoat. Everything you do is on me. Every little bad thing you do is on me. You treat me like I'm nothing. Such a shame. Every little excuse that you make, put it on my back and hope that I don't need you like you need me. I'm not your scapegoat. I'm not a scapegoat. No! Scapegoat! Of you.
No, screw you. That song was lazy. That song was lazy, and the vocal performance was his worst on this album easily. That sounded like scratch vocals to me. That sounded like like demo vocals, right? Especially that last scream there, that last bit of the album. We know how fantastic he can be, right? With his vocals. The emotion he can have in there.
Mama always told me never dance with the devil, you'll only find trouble, well trouble's just fine.
Right. But then listen to this.
Need me till you need me.
No overdubs, just one take, which is fine. They're trying to be more emotional here. You need to have a better vocal performance.
Such a shame, little excuse that you make. Put it on my back and hope that I don't need you like you need me.
Yeah.
I'm not your scapegoat.
Right? I like the...
Not a scapegoat.
Listen to this last part here.
No.
That was kind of a weak no.
Scapegoat.
That. That could have been way better. So, one thing I'm curious about, maybe, the only thing I could see with this is if he wanted to do that whole song in one take, and then overdub the crazy talking like this part. Like, right? So, like, if he did that whole thing in one take, and they didn't do any overdubs, which it sounded like to me.
Treat me like I'm nothing.
Right?
Such a shame, though.
Very different from... There's like layering to his voice here. Harmony vocals and stuff in the back, pretty far back there.
You'll take everything, so the joke's on me.
A lot of vocal layering there. We're a Scapegoat.
Shame, though. I'm not your scapegoat.
Sounds like there's a couple overdubs there. But at the end here...
I'm a scapegoat. Everything you do is on me. Every little bad thing you do is on me.
Oh, that's... Every little thing you do is on me. Every little bad thing you do is on me. Like, it's... That... Whenever he does that type of a voice, I feel like it's pretty cringy to me. Now, I don't like talking in songs, but I don't think of this in the same category. Like, I'm not a talking during songs fan. Like, I hate it in metal songs when during the bridge it breaks down and some guy comes in and goes, in the end of the third age. You know, it's like some kind of narration thing from like Lord of the Rings or something, which Lord of the Rings, badass. When it's accompanying visuals, badass. In a metal song, I don't know. But this, I feel differently about this. There's something so American about the every little thing you do, I blame on me. I'm the one that's got a whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, whatever, that's crazy, you know, cringy, whatever, you know, everything that you do, blah, 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 blah. I don't like that style of vocal where they're doing this kind of a thing and then they put some distortion on it and they make it try to sound like they're so, like I'm, like this Sunday, you know, like I've never enjoyed, to me, that's kind of a cringy thing. However, that is a core part of this band. That's a core fundamental part of this band. They've used it, I think, on all of their albums. And I do think it's something that Ivan Moody does better than a lot of other people. And that's where I feel like if they treated it as being just a little bit maybe more self-aware-ish, to be able to laugh at themselves a bit. I'm not saying they need to be a comedy band. I'm not saying they need to incorporate funny stuff into their music. But to me, it feels a little cringy because it kind of is almost like, I don't know. I was going to compare it to country music in a way, and I don't think that that's an apt comparison, so I'm not going to do that. So, okay, so that last song there, pretty disappointing to me. But what I was saying, sorry, to just finish my thought, if he wanted to have that be like a single take and he wanted the emotion of that single take and that was the best single take that he did, I think that's awesome because that would be very different for this band who is so produced and polished and intentionally made to sound a very specific way on purpose to appeal to their fan base. Like then doing that, having it be one take like that would be very impressive to me. And I would enjoy that more. If that's not the case and they weren't trying to be artistic with like a single take or only having one track of vocals through, and that's just what they thought was the best of that to me seemed like a bonus song, or that should have been a bonus song that they didn't work on as much, that didn't go through the full polished stage. It felt out of place to me on this album. It's not the only song that did feel out of place. I do think Oppresso Liber sounded different too. So one of the things I wanted to do while at the end of this video was compare the way this album sounds to their previous ones, but I don't want to mess around with that too much because they're having these legal problems, and I don't want to get this video blocked worldwide by including some of their older stuff. I could compare it to their 2 greatest hits ones they just released, but I'm not going to do that either. Instead, I want to just go from song to song on here a little bit and see. I think from what we just doing it there a little bit, it sounded pretty consistent. Let's get to the choruses.
I just won't die. You don't need me till you need me. And where do we start? Am I supposed to just know life? It always
like, listen to this.
Like these weeds ain't nothing healthy, I know. It's on me, bring it on me. You treat me like I'm nothing. You just can't live, and I just won't die. You don't. But who's keeping score? If crazy knows crazy, then I'm insane. Cause I keep all you ever do is
really loud vocals here.
I don't wanna hear more words. Turn back now. Nothing ever ends how we
Nails in the Coffin, I think, is probably the best song on here.
we can live our lives. Am I supposed to grow in all
This
of these
way too
weeds?
loud
Ain't
vocal
nothing
there.
healthy.
Yeah.
We can rename. There's something in the way. Right now, I won't be a pawn in anybody's game.
This part, the guitars don't sound as good. They're too low pass, meaning the high frequencies have been cut off of them too much. But during this part, it sounds nicer, more comparable to the rest of the album. Look, this sounds completely different than the previous song. Listen to the way the guitars and the vocals sound. Listen to the vocals, or the drum, the guitars, sorry. The guitars. This is so much more compressed. Eye of the Storm is great, and I think way better than Oppresso Liber. I think Oppresso Liber is... See, that's cool. What was the other one with the...
You're taking the
Oh, it was Everybody Lies.
Where do we go from?
That sounds nice.
Everybody lies. It's a sad fact.
Listen to the vocals.
Where do we go from?
Very, yeah. I think it was Unscathed that had the vocals.
It all adds up,
Yeah.
but who's keeping score? If crazy knows crazy, then you're taking the light from.
It's fun to me to do this. Let's hear what Legacy was. The first one. Vocals lower in volume. That's really cool. Actually, Legacy's pretty awesome. And I know this is probably supposed to be considered the heavy song on the album. Listen to some solo. Guitars and solos were awesome. Across the whole album.
You're taking.
I'm just clicking the same part in every song. Around 2 minutes in.
You're
Around
taking
2:30. So much louder Shelter is. Okay, so a little bit of an inconsistency with the mixing and everything here, and I almost wonder if that has to do with the fact that this album was piecemealed together from sessions that they had over years, maybe even, or at different places. You know, if since they went and recorded their last two, I don't know about this, so I'm just guessing here, but their two previous albums, the Best of Volume 1, Best of Volume 2, I'm sure that those were all recorded at the same time, probably at the same place, and they just sat and recorded like a bunch of their songs and did everything for it. And I remember I did try listening to the first one a little bit, and I was kind of disappointed by the quality of it. I didn't feel personally like the performance from Moody was better on these re-recorded 2025 versions. Yeah, there's Maria Brinkov in this moment. So I don't know, but so what I was getting at with that was, with this album, I almost wonder if like they recorded it at different studios over time, over a longer period of time with some different production stuff and different people. I don't know, and I'm not going to do any investigating here because this video is already long enough, but interesting. So as far as Five Finger Death Punch goes, I think that overall this album is more appealing to me than a lot of the albums in their catalog. Now I was trying to think of this earlier. The one Five Finger Death Punch song that sticks in my mind the most, the part that sticks in my mind the most, and I don't even know which song this is. It's probably off their second album or third album, maybe. I don't think it's from their first one, but it's this song that goes, "Did you hear the one about me being a punk? Did you hear the one about me being a gangster?" Whatever that one is. And I can't even think of which song that is. And that kind of, to me, overall is a good way of expressing the part of this band that doesn't stick with me as much, is that a lot of it feels samey to me, and their songs feel kind of very similar from song to song. But that particular part, "Did you hear the one about me being a punk?" That kind of a thing. I do like that song. Don't know which one it is though. And that kind of tells you. However, with this album, I do feel like there was more that they were trying to do a little bit different. There were some songs that stood out to me as being really good. I think Nails in the Coffin, great. I think Legacy's pretty good, but it still feels very similar to what they would have done. They could have put that on any of their other albums. But Nails in the Coffin felt very special to me, and I think that's probably my favorite song. Unscathed was an interesting one. Everybody Lies is great, but they do have kind of fun songs like that on some of their other albums. Jokes on Me was kind of weird. Shelter and Oppresso Liber, I didn't care for as much. There's some heavier stuff there, but not for me. Eye of the Storm I thought was really great, and so that's good that that's the big single from this. Scapegoat, very disappointing, probably the most disappointing song on the album, and felt to me like it, and because it felt to me like the least worked on song, like the most throwaway song. And to me, I wouldn't have put that at the end. I would have put Everybody Lies at the end and have that, the most different sounding thing, be the final thing you're hearing. Because it ended, it had this nice little thing with the kids' voices and stuff. That would have been fun to me. And then they could have like extended that song a little bit more, because it's only 3:20. They could have extended that song a little bit more and let the kids go and had like acoustic guitar or something, kind of not fade the song out, but have things drop out. And then have this kids being in there, la 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 la, be the last thing you hear. Would have been a nice, fun, positive way to end the album, rather than Scapegoat, which was the performance was bothering me enough. I didn't hear the lyrics very much, but the first half of the album, I was getting that sort of like, we're kind of jaded to the music industry at this point, but we're not giving up. It's our legacy. We're choosing to do this. We chose to keep Five Finger Death Punch going. And so I appreciate that vibe that was kind of going through the album, but then halfway through the album, I kind of lost that a bit, and I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics as much. That's definitely for sure true, but that's what I said before I even started this. So I don't know. If you only have 10 songs, 3 of them are actually pretty disappointing to me, that being Oppresso Liber, Shelter, and Scapegoat, all being pretty disappointed to me. That's not very good. That leaves me only with 7 songs to kind of chew the meat that's the meat on the bone that I enjoy. I think Legacy I'll probably enjoy more when I listen to this album again. Eye of the Storm I'll probably enjoy more too. Nails in the Coffin was immediately impressive to me, and I loved that one a lot. And then In Time was different, but I feel kind of similar to what they've done in the past. Unscathed was different, and I like the vocals, but the production there was a little bit even with what's on the rest of the album. Jokes on Me will probably grow on me more, like I think I said, and Everybody Lies was great. And then honestly, yeah, Shelter and Scapegoat. When an album ends with multiple songs that kind of disappoint me, it really turns me off on the whole album, which is kind of a bummer. So, but as of right now, not so impressive that I think I'm going to include this on my list of top 12 albums of the year. This year has been especially fantastic, but I am happy with the direction that this went, and it makes me very curious what their next album would be. I would love it if they would radically change something with the band. And maybe this, for them, this was a radical change, but I feel like they're still trying to do the exact same thing without taking any risks. I would love this band to take some risks. I think that would be really good for them, and I think they kind of need that. And I think that this is the beginnings of them doing that. This album does feel different to me than their previous stuff, and I think that I like it more than a lot of their previous albums. But I still think that there's room for them to grow here and to expand into something a little different. And that's kind of my overall thoughts. So thank you all very much for watching the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I have this band wrong in some cases. Let me know how you feel about this band. Let me know what your favorite album of this band is, because this band has a lot of followers. They have 6.5, almost 6.6 million monthly listeners, which is quite a lot more than a lot of the metal we listen to here on the channel. And so I'm curious, from the fan base themselves, what do you like about this band? What speaks to you the most? Is it the lyrics and the message of the band, and it resonates with you personally? That would, to me, would be my guess about why this band resonates with people. Do you think that this band sounds different sonically? The metal side of this, does it sound different? Not Ben Moody, that's from Evanescence. Not Ivan Moody, not his part of this band, but the metal part of this, the music part of this. Does it sound different to you from other metal bands that you listen to? I'm very curious about that. And if you're the type of person that only pays attention to the lyrics and to the message of the song, and that's what you get from it the most, listen to it again and see and compare it to some other metal that you really like. Listen to the mixes and see if you can hear a difference between this and the other things that you like. I'm very, very curious what people think of that exercise. And then let me know what your favorite album from their catalog is. What's the one that you think sounds the best, and what's the one that is your favorite? And those two don't have to be the same. For me, usually, because the production is so important to me, generally my favorite album from a band is what I consider to be their best. That's not always the case, though. But what's your favorite, and what's the best sounding in your opinion? Let me know those things in the comments. Thank you very much for being here. And yeah, we'll see. I'll see you next time.